Good morning, West Ham fans. Happy Saturday. The weekend is upon us and West Ham cannot ruin it. Thank God. Hope you have a lovely weekend planned. West Ham free weekend. Obviously, technically next weekend's a West Ham free weekend as well, as we don't play again until the 1st of April. April Fool's Day. How ironic. Now, for today's sort of morning show, it's not necessarily amusing, but kind of. It's a follow-on from yesterday. So obviously, I did a piece yesterday about pretty much about the academy and looking forward and talking about this conveyor belt of players we have coming into fruition over the next couple of years and how much that could save us money going forward, yada yada yada. You know what I was talking about. If not, go back and watch it and then you can come back. And I had some really nice comments, and actually someone DM'd me, slid into my DMs, as the kids say, and wanted a bit more information about some of the, because I spoke about, you know, how we've had a good track record of letting players go. We spoke about Grady Dean Garner and stuff like that, and they asked me to talk a bit about some of the players that, because I said we've had quite a good hit rate. You know, there's not many who I think we've missed out on by letting them leave. You know, the club know what they're doing, and they said prove it. Not necessarily, not that confrontationally, but you know what happened. Actually, they asked me specifically what happened to Armstrong Ockerflex, and that got me thinking. And so we you know, and they wanted to know a bit more about that. So that's what we're going to do today. Nice and simple. So we've got a list, and this is not exhaustive. But this is a list of players who. Can I go full screen? Where's my full screen option gone now? Anyway, let's see if we can go. That's right. You can see it. You can have me in the corner. But you can see here, and again, this is not exhaustive, but this is a number of players who have academy players who have left the have left the fold, whether that's been sold, whether they're having their contract renewed, or anything like that. And you look through that list, and there's no one that really jumps out at me. You know, there's some players who've gone on to play Premier League football. Josh Cullen, obviously. Sober Thomas, he did with Huddersfield. Courtney Halls. Pele, Reese. But that's about it. So what I thought I'd do is take a few of them and just show where they are. So, you know, and again, exemplifying the point that the academy know what they're doing. You know, the likes of Kenny Brown and Kevin Keane and Mike Robson and Potsy and Laurie Coggins and Zavon and Colton and, you know, and Mark Noble sort of heading up, and Mark Phillips as well. Mark Noble heading up sort of from a board level, and then Mark Phillips as well. They know what they're doing. And if anything, I think this exemplifies the point going forward. So I picked half a dozen, you know, fan favourites, you know, and actually with a lot of these players, when they left, we really were like, shit, this person's gone. Oh my god. And I think also sometimes it highlights the fact that because they're part of the academy, we put them on a pedestal because of the academy that preceded them. And arguably, I think there was a period where we were producing okay players, but not great players. Now I think we're coming into a period of real excitement in terms of the academy. And that's why I'm excited. You know, so if we start, let's talk about Connor Coventry. Let's start with Connor Coventry, shall we? Good old Connor. So Connor is obviously played a fair few West Ham games, first team games, and was always then proverbially out on loan, always to Peterborough. But he was then released by West Ham and joined Charlton in January 2024 from West Ham, where he was there since he was 10 years old, really. He's gone on to make over 50 appearances for Charlton, and he also still holds the record, I think, for the most Irish under-21 caps. Obviously, well past that now. In terms, I think he got 28 caps, I think, for under Northern Ireland under-21s, I believe. Next, Reece Oxford, the man who had Ozil in his pocket. Do you remember? Do you remember? He was the great hope under the Slaven Bilic era, making his debut against Arsenal, wasn't it, at the Emirates, and a match-winning performance. He sort of, he sort of drifted on. That was the 15-16 season. He then sort of was pretty much nowhere near. It was injuries and stuff as well. He moved to Augsburg in August 2019. And since then, made 84 Bundesliga appearances, scoring 2 goals. His contract actually runs out with Augsburg this summer. He was 16 when he debuted for West Ham. However, and it's quite funny, you see the trajectory of someone like Declan Rice and the career trajectory of someone like Reece, and they did the polar opposites, really. But, a player who had so much potential, but, it was deemed at the time that the club decided to move on with him, and then went and had an okay career in Germany and sort of started to find his feet a bit at Augsburg. It took him a while, and, considering he's been there a few years, not a ton of appearances, but then again, there was a lot of issues with injury and stuff like that. Obviously, we went out on loan. I want to say Reading, and I want to say Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think, but I'm not 100. Don't quote me on that. That's just my brain. But 84 appearances for Augsburg since 2019, August 2019. So just shows you, But recently he's become more of a regular starter now. So maybe you'll see a few more appearances for him. Harrison Ashby, he was my boy. He was the one I thought was going to be our right back for many years to come. Thought the grass was green on the other side. He's currently at QPR, as you can see. He's on loan from Newcastle. Obviously, they took him on in January. It was the same. Did he sign the same time as Anthony Gordon? Or something like that, wasn't it? Same January 2023, I think it was. Then went out, didn't really do much, went out on loan for the rest of that season, the 23 season, 23-24, to Swansea. Made 13 appearances for them. Then this season, he's at QPR. So far, 20 appearances. So again, it's like, and now with Livramento, potentially you think maybe with Trippier coming to the end, could he be one that we let slip? At the moment, I wouldn't suggest so. He's not banging on the door as such, particularly, at Newcastle, which is a shame because I always thought he was a good player. And he walked like a player. He actually, when you see him like walk into the ground and and on the pitch, he looked like a footballer. If that made sense. Just he sort of held himself quite well, but clearly the grass wasn't greener on the other side. Maybe with a start asterisk on that potentially with Harrison. Another one who thought the grass was green on the other side, Sonny Perkins. Sonny Perkins famously obviously made his West Ham debut against Leeds, I think, if I remember correctly. And then he joined Leeds in 2022, I think it was in that summer. Scored a professional goal, and then was eventually sort of not necessarily getting into the side too much. He then went on loan to Oxford United for the 23-24 season. Only made 3 appearances in all sort of competitions there. He was actually recalled due to a lack of game time at Oxford, and then was sent back out on loan to Oriam. Who then he joined on a permanent basis in January this year, so signing a contract until 2027. So again, not necessarily finding regular. He obviously played against Man City recently in the FA Cup, and starting to find his feet again in league football with Oriam in the League One side. Who else we got? Jamal Baptiste, interesting character. Jamal was famously had a really bad. Was it Jamal who had a really bad illness, which basically Sullivan paid for him to have private treatment because he didn't have private healthcare or something like that, if I remember correctly. was part of the West Ham youth side. He was actually, I remember, he lifted the Betway Cup in Mark Noble's last year at as a player when we won the Betway Cup. He was the one lifting it, not Mark Noble, but Jamal Baptiste. A strange career. He was released by West Ham, went to Man City, and was released by them at the end of the 23-24 season. He was actually loaned out as well as part of that. I believe, I can't remember, it was Lomel or something like that. I can't remember the club. They're their like Belgian affiliate club, where he made a couple of appearances. He's now at Sheffield United. He joined their academy in November 2024 after a successful trial. He actually made an appearance in the Championship this season since then. So, maybe the cogs will start turning back on Jamal's career, but he wasn't successful at Man City. Similarly, at the moment, obviously, Divine Mbama, he's at Man City's academy. He's made a couple of appearances, a couple on the bench for City's first team. Obviously, he played in the FA Cup for City, but that's most of the time. He hasn't really played much for the under-21s either, I don't think. So he's sort of one of those ones who seems to be sort of in between squads and sort of in no man's land a little bit. Dan Kemp. Do you remember little Dan Kemp? Good player. Tricky winger. He's now at Stevenage FC, where he has been there since. Where's my notes? I'll bring my notes up now. Since July 2024, he signed a 2-year deal. Before that, when he left West Ham, he went to Orient. A lot of them do tend to go to Orient, where he played 43 times, scoring 5 goals. Then he went to MK Dons. He had loan spells at Hartlepool, Swindon Town, most notably scoring 14 goals in 25 appearances for Swindon in the 23-24 season. And then he returned to Stevenage on a permanent deal in June 2024. Since rejoining, he's made 35 appearances, scoring 9 goals so far this season. So he's having a good season in the with Stevenage. This is like I love going down old memory lane. Nathan Holland, do you remember Nathan Holland? He was going to be our little tricky winger. He's actually a free agent now. Sign him up, Graham. He last played for Forest Green Rovers in the EFL. Since leaving West Ham, he was at MK Dons for a while. Made 35 appearances his debut season there. Then he went to Forest Green. He was released in April 2024. He only made 3 appearances. Again, injuries, blighted his career. Now, we're not obviously going through all that whole list. I'm picking some names who are synonymous, where we've gone to a situation where we've seen them being released and the world has fallen out of our arse because we're, oh my God. But actually, when you look back at things, it wasn't so bad. Let's talk about who's next. Blair Turgott. It's an unusual one, Blair. He was released by West Ham in the mid-2010s. I want to say 2014-15 season. Sounds about right to me. He's currently playing in the Swedish league for Halmstad BK. During his time, he had loan spells at Bradford City, Colchester, Rotherham, Dagenham and Redbridge. He was at Coventry after leaving West Ham on a short-term deal. Then he went to Bromley. Then he went to Osterlitz, scoring 18 goals and 63 appearances. Then he went to Häcken. So he sort of stayed around Sweden and Scandinavia. He signed a 2-year deal there. He was part of the side that won the title in 2022. And in last July, he signed a 2.5-year deal with Halmstads BK. So again, they find their niche. They find their niche eventually, does Blair, and playing consistently in the Swedish league. Oh, Dapu Afolayan. Definitely remember him making his debut for West Ham in the Cup. He's now playing at FC St. Pauli in the Bundesliga. He joined, after leaving West Ham, he joined Bolton Wanderers, initially on loan and then permanently in the May of 2021. He scored 15 goals in 66 appearances for them. And then since 2023, he has been playing for Sapoli. He made an immediate impact, scoring 12 goals in 47 appearances, and helped them reach promotion to the Bundesliga for this current season. So, again, making a impact in a different country, and now in the Bundesliga. Who else we got? Emmanuel Longuera. He was the pick when we had that game, the European Conference, when we played all the kids. He was the one who stood out more than any of them. We had 7 or 8 of them by the end. He was brilliant on that left-hand side, left-hand wing back, or whatever position we played. Yeah, it was wing back. I think, yeah. He was absolutely brilliant. We then let him go, and then he went to Birmingham City. And he's currently still in the books at Birmingham. I think at least he went on a season on loan. Then it was made permanently. But now he's on loan at Cambridge United. So currently still on Birmingham's books, but at Cambridge United. I think he was playing a lot under Rooney, if I remember correctly. Then Rooney left and he wasn't favoured, so they sent him out on loan. Who else we've got? We've got the 1 minute man, Miko Odubeko. Do you remember he made his debut against Man United? When we say don't throw kids on before they're ready, this was a clear example. Moyes put him on that Man United Cup game and took him off, which fucked up his career completely in my eyes. He was absolutely on fire for the under-21s, if I remember correctly, when he was sort of drafted up. He's now playing for Shelbourne in the Irish League of Ireland Premier Division. He had loan stints at Huddersfield, Doncaster, Port Vale. In July 2023, he signed a 2-year contract with Portuguese side Maritoma. He left there the following year, having made no appearances. He joined Fleetwood Town for a little bit in August 2024, but left in December of 2024, making 11 appearances and scoring once, I think. And now he's currently plying his trade in the Irish Premier League. Armstrong effects. Here we go, Jim. This is who you wanted, Armstrong. He's currently playing for FC Zurich in the Swiss Super League. He obviously joined West Ham, and then went out on loan to Swansea, if I think. Then we recalled him, and then the following August, he was then released, or the following summer, he was released in 2023. He then signed a 2-year deal with FC Zurich. He scored his debut in the Swiss Cup in September that year, and is currently still playing his trade for FC Zurich. So that's where he is, Jim. All right, he's in Zurich. Who else we got? Martin Samuelsson. Do you remember this guy? This guy was like, he was going to be our, we got him from Man City, I want to remember. Man City Academy, if I remember correctly. He's currently playing for FK Hogsund in the Norwegian League. He had experience with loan moves to VVV Vento, Haugesund in Norway. In 2019, he joined Hull, where he made 18 appearances, and then he returned to Haugesund in August 2024. His contract runs out this summer. Sign him up. And so I thought it was a little trip down memory lane, and that's the whole point of what we do here. If you have something you want us to talk about or something to do, we will do it. So this follows like tomorrow. We've got the Wahai series. Wahai is was it called the bowling ground? And again, it sort of exemplifies my point of what I was saying yesterday about the academy. In terms of, it's not always doom and gloom when we let players go. There's usually thought behind it. I mean, you look at someone like Grady Dinkon, I spoke about yesterday. I haven't spoken about it now, but to sell him for 18 million quid, absolute bargain. He's done fuck all since leaving. You know what I mean? And there's loads of others we could talk. We talked about Pierre Aguilar. We could talk about Ashley Elise. There's loads of players, but I just thought those were a nice selection of some of the ones who we put on a pedestal and have gone and not. We haven't regretted that decision. That makes sense. But as I said, we're entering a period now in the academy where for me, there's a lot of very good players. And it's how we utilise them going forward now. Anyway, my friends, take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith, and I'll see you tomorrow. Much love. Bye bye.